to my channel. As you can see, I'm in a different setting today. I decided to try something new. I've got the doors, I'm in my room, but I've got, and it actually sounds a little bit, quite a bit, it sounds like it's echoing. But I've got laundry on the go, so I've got the doors shut to help with the sound. And if you hear click, 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 it's because Charlie is in the room and he's running around on the floor and he's like, what are you doing? I don't get this, what's going on? But anyways, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted today to be able to, you probably already can tell from the title, but to go through my experience with Brittaney traveling as an unaccompanied minor, and specifically through Delta, just because obviously that's the airline that we used. So her father moved away probably 6 months ago, 5 months ago or so. Actually, not that long ago, 4 months ago. And so she traveled over 9,000 kilometers to go see him. And I'll link the, is it this way? I think it's this way. I'll link the previous video where I'm a blubbering mess when I put her on the plane and everything. But this was the first time that we had done this. She's traveled extensively for only being 13, but she's been all over the world. But this was the first time that she traveled by herself, and so she was comfortable with it. She was completely fine. There was an incident, and I'll tell you about that later on the flight coming back. But anyway, so you have a few options with Delta to do unaccompanied minor. And again, this is all just my experience, so I just want to say that ahead of time, that I had tried to get with a girlfriend beforehand to sit with her because her daughter had traveled quite a bit, unaccompanied minor, and unfortunately we just weren't able to connect. She was traveling and then Brittaney had already gone. So anyways, but I would have appreciated this sort of information beforehand, just to sort of peace of mind, you know. And actually another girlfriend of mine had recommended that I do this video for that exact reason. So thank you, Allie. But anyway, so you have to book the ticket first, and then you do the unaccompanied minor. And the options are that you can do it either ahead of time or at the airport when the child is getting ready to travel. If it was up to me, her dad had paid for all of this, but if it was up to me, it would have been done beforehand. And then, you know, a lot of the stuff is where you can call, you know, like their customer service and get information beforehand. But it really is very specific, I think, to the countries and the airports. So what we found, well, okay, before I get ahead of myself. So you can book ahead of time. And you can pay for it ahead of time. Our situation wasn't that way. I ended up going in with her on the day that she was flying and paying for the unaccompanied minor as an additional thing. So the ages for unaccompanied minor, I believe, are from 5 through Delta. Age 5 through, no, Charlie. Age 5 through 13, or no, is it 12? It's 12. And then 13 through 17 is an option. It's an additional option that you can pay for. And, you know, I have a niece who did unaccompanied minor within the States, you know, so from Florida to New York, I believe, quite a few times when she was growing up. And she got to the point to where she didn't want to have unaccompanied minor anymore because it was a pain, because she'd have to board so much earlier and wait until the end, until everybody was off the plane, because she wouldn't be able to leave until the flight attendant took her to whoever was collecting her at the airport. So having said that, that's part of it too. You know, for me, that was a peace of mind to pay this extra amount. Again, I didn't pay for it, my ex-husband did, but to have this where you can track the person who's flying unaccompanied minor. So they get like a band and everything, and it has a number, and you're supposed to be able to track it. For whatever reason, when I took her to the Frankfurt airport and paid for all of this, she received a band and all of that, but for whatever reason, they said that their system wasn't working and they weren't able to I wasn't able to track her. However, there was also discrepancy with the amount. So it's $275 round trip, you know? And so I paid for that, all of it round trip. But then there was like, I think $195, 95 euros, excuse me, that they said was the fees for it. But then there was a discrepancy between when we booked her in and where we had to pay, which was two separate counters. So we went and checked her in through Delta, and then we had to go afterwards and go and actually pay for the unaccompanied minor at the customer service desks that that everyone can go to and utilize. You know, if you're asking, oh, where's terminal, whatever, do you know what I mean? So this is where we had to go and pay for it. I hope I'm not just rambling and you guys are able to follow this, because in my mind it's all clear, but I'm not sure if it's coming across that way. So I hope so. I apologize if not. But please, if you guys have any questions at all, just leave them down in the comments below, and I'm happy to answer as best as I can. If not, I can just recommend you all the sites that I went to that helped me to get some answers. But so you have to be there. So it was international flight, obviously. So you had to be there 3 hours prior to. And I was thinking that we were going to have this separate area that her and I would be able to be in before the flight, and that wasn't the case. They brought us through so they gave me a pass to be able to go through. So I had to go through all the way with her to be able to wait until the plane actually took off, which I was completely fine with. And they do that, I'm assuming, just because in case there's changes or delays, the flight actually doesn't take off, then you're still there and responsible for the person that's, you know, traveling unaccompanied minor. But so her and I went through customs together, not customs, but anyway, they check your visas and stuff. I almost said Border Patrol, obviously it's not Border Patrol. You know what I'm talking about. You know, well, anyway, so we went through all of that together, security, you know, everything. And then I waited for her until the flight took off. And then, but on the return, I was thinking that when I went to go to collect her, that I would have to be there 2 hours before the flight came in, because I would need to then go through to customer service again, get that pass where I can go through, and then I meet her at the gate. That wasn't the case at all. They don't allow that. So there were immigration laws and things like that that were in Colombia, which is where she went. And then, so she wasn't able to, so my ex-husband wasn't able to actually bring her all the way through in Colombia, and here I wasn't able to collect her at the gate. So that was a little bit misleading on everything that I read on their websites to be able to, so I told her, don't worry, I'll be at the gate when you know, and it wasn't the case. So there were some hiccups, I would say. But there was an issue with her flying back from Colombia to the States. So she had layovers in Atlanta, which is like a huge, huge airport. But what I would say about the Atlanta airport is they had this lounge area for these unaccompanied minors, kids, that had, she took pictures of it all. It was so cool. It had all these areas where you can sit and hang out and lounge, obviously. They had video games and obviously Wi-Fi, and so she could charge and do everything that she needed to there. And then they also had all of these like free snacks, so food, drinks, and things like that. So which was good because she had like a 5-hour layover on the way home there, so that was good. She was exhausted though, honestly. This was way, way too long. Do you know, it's already, it was like over 15 hours of traveling for her, so I think that's too much. And there's a 7-hour time difference, so to add that on top of it. So she was wrecked when she came home. So, but anyway, so I would highly recommend it. Again, you don't have to be over the age of 12. You don't have to have unaccompanied minor. But obviously, since this was the first time she was flying, I wanted to make sure that she had some assistance, and such a long distance too, and everything, and obviously being able to figure out the airport and all of that. Having said that, personally, she has chosen not to do this again on her own. She had, like I said, I'm kind of coming full circle and I'm coming back to it, but she had had an incident when she was flying from Colombia into Atlanta. 20 minutes into the flight, she had a panic attack, and she's never had anything like that before. So fortunately, there was a doctor on the flight with her and was able to help her, and she said they gave her like the oxygen mask and stuff like that, and he was checking her blood pressure and all of that. And I think as a formality, they had written up an incident report, and then there was a policeman and paramedic waiting for her when she landed in Atlanta. So that was upsetting. Of course, I had no idea that any of this had happened until after the fact, but I would say that Tierney had said that through all of that and how stressful it was, that the flight attendants and everybody there was so helpful to her. She said she felt really, really thankful that how caring and everything and understanding that they were and how well they took care of her. So this is a shout out to Delta, to the flight attendants and stuff. I'm planning on writing an email to say thank you so much for everything that you did for her. Again, though, I would have never have known any of this if it wasn't for her, obviously. She communicated all of this to me. But so anyways, I just wanted to be able to share my experience. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them as best that I can, if not direct you to the links and stuff that I used to be able to help answer some questions beforehand. I know how stressful it can be prior to the first time doing something like this. So if you're using it, best of luck, and thank you, Delta, for everything, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.